Mayank Sharma. Welcome to our podcast, Time Capsule. This is our first episode featuring Dhvani Kankaria. Dhvani is the owner of CV Shop and she has transformed 200 plus careers and helped many people ace interviews and get a job. So please watch this video till the end and enjoy the show. So, welcome to our podcast, Time Capsule, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayank.
आप अपने audience को कुछ share करना चाहेंगे regarding how you got in this venture of yours?
Sure. So, CV Shop is the name, right?
Yeah.
CVs is something that was not as famous as a product for sure. मैं किसी को भी बोलती हूँ कि CV Shop कर रहे थे, like ये क्या चीज़ है, right?
Yeah.
So, there's a brand called LBB. Have you heard of that? Little Black Book. It was an old brand that used to put a lot of blogs about what's happening in Calcutta, what's happening in Bangalore, stuff like that. And I was just an intern at that time, and I'd done 3 internships, and they were looking for a photography intern.
Yeah.
And I had no experience, and I had to put something in my CV, seeing as every fresher ever, they have nothing to add in their CV, right? So I'm like, I can't put a blank paper, and I can't add 3 things on it. So then I made a very different CV.
Yeah.
And that was called out in the sense that when I had applied for the job, they said this thing that, the CV is very different. So out of 200 applicants, we actually land up calling you because your CV was this different. And that kind of stayed, obviously. So by profession or by skill, actually, I'm a graphic designer. I studied BCom, which had no relevance to what I have done at all. I just joined one of the internships. The first internship that I did, he asked me to learn a bit of Photoshop. And I was like, sure, okay, I don't know anything, so I'll learn anything, right? And because of learning a little bit of that Photoshop, I knew that I could use that skill to make something. So that's why the CV that I made was very different. And that kind of stayed. And during lockdown, I had a conversation with my dad. And he's like, why don't you build this into something, right? And my family is a family of entrepreneurs.
Okay.
So it was a thing for me to do something of my own for sure. And this just became an opportunity to start off. And that's how CV Shop came in.
Okay, so like आपने भी जैसे बताया कि obviously nobody could think कि CV as a business कि ये क्या हो रहा है. So like even few days back, I was also preparing my CV for an internship, and I normally Googled the stuff कि templates मुझे चाहिए and कोई AI अभी तो आया ही इतने सारे बना ही देंगे वो वाला चीज़.
Correct.
So चलो AI तो is paid usually, but if we are also making, like I made it from Canva. So I got a CV which was, I think I showed it to a couple of my friends and they said कि हाँ काफी अच्छा लगा.
चल जाएगा.
Yeah. So what's the difference if I'm making CV by your company and if I'm making it myself by through Canva or any AI? What's the difference?
Great question.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I think the most common question, right?
Okay.
कि अगर startup चालू कर रहे हैं तो उसका USP क्या होगा?
Yeah.
The idea is not about creating the content or the graphic per se, right? It is about the fact that people don't know how to present themselves or talk about themselves. Like, let's just put it that way. What do you think you can provide to a company? Just as a person, what do you think you can provide to a company? Or what role would you want to apply for?
I would apply for HR because I have great communication skill. I'm a people's person. I can communicate with them and I can solve problems while connecting with them, I guess. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is something that you want to put in your CV, right?
Yeah.
But you don't have any experience with it. You don't have anything associated to it. So how can you talk about it?
Yeah.
So essentially, the idea is to talk to the person more. Dig everything out, whatever they have done. You've done probably a lot of things. This is one of the things, right?
Yeah.
Podcasting becoming one of the things that you're doing right now, which helps communicate the fact that you're a good communicator.
Yeah.
That should be put in a way that the person who's hiring you sees it, right? So there are 2 aspects to it, the content and the design part, right? But पहले जो digging part होता है ना, वो इंसान खुद के लिए नहीं कर पाता.
मतलब
Basically, you wouldn't know which section to put, how to put, and what should you talk about yourself in the CV first, right? तो मैं पहले तेरे को पूछूंगी, तेरे को क्या करना है, कैसे करना है. A lot of people miss out on a lot of things they have done, thinking that, this is not fitting for their CV. I'll give you an example. So there was this person who said that they want to apply for an intern role.
Yeah.
And they've done a lot of content writing stuff. Okay. But they had also RG'd for an internship. They had also RG'd and they had a conversation with Sanjeev Kapoor.
Okay.
Okay. Sanjeev Kapoor,
the chef, yeah.
right? Sanjeev Kapoor. And he's like, that is irrelevant for my CV.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is relevant for your CV because that adds a lot of credibility. Additionally, you can talk about it. There are things that you need to add in your CV, design wise ho ya content wise ho, for which the person who's seeing it makes you a person. अभी क्या होता है, 450 तो CV होता है, सारे सेम दिखते हैं. All of them, can I use English or Hindi?
Both.
Yeah,
Hindi is better,
all
I
good.
guess.
Okay, so there are like 400 CVs that are there
Yeah.
that I have to go through, right? Almost 200 of them will look alike. अगर तुम Canva use करो, it's not like you're the only one who's using Canva.
Obviously.
There are other 30 people who are using Canva as well, probably the same template.
Yeah.
And especially if you're a friend, you will end up using your friend's template. कि हाँ तुम जो use कर रहे हो तुम मेरे को दे दे, मैं भी वही use कर लूँगा, right?
Yeah.
And what lands up happening is you're not different. There are 30 other people who are applying with the same expertise, with the same role, with the same knowledge. And how will you stand out? These are the stories that stand out. And that people fail to mention the things that will create stories. So your CV is a story. It is communicating everything you have done in a way that the person is interested to hire you. तो वो कॉन्वर्जेशन पहुंचते पहुंचते तो वो सीवी का मतलब एकदम बैंड बज जाता है, राइट? बिकॉज दैट वर्ड डॉक्यूमेंट और वाइट एंड ब्लैक एंड वाइट डॉक्यूमेंट, it just gets ignored because there are 30 other people who are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? So you need to have creativity in content or design, but first you need to know what you're talking about. तुम्हारा purpose क्या है? So there's this thing that I say, right, that you need to 5 P's of marketing. Okay,
Yeah.
I have to mention.
Yeah, we have researched about that in your LinkedIn profile.
Yes.
That usually what we know is that place, promotion, product, and price.
Correct.
But you said there's a fifth key of marketing, which is purpose.
Correct.
Okay.
So purpose is essentially why are you doing, what are you doing, right? And one of the questions that I ask in my workshops as well, why are you making this CV, right? You need to know the purpose of that CV, which is to get the job. It is not to write down everything you know. It is to get the job. In order to get the job, you need to get the person who is hosting you, right? Like the interviewer who is talking to you कि ये job तुम्हारे लिए क्यों अच्छा है. And if you don't have enough conversations, if you don't have enough things to put, which is essentially a blank CV, which is what most freshers have, that's the issue that lands up happening, that they don't know what story to tell. So essentially, CV Shop में first चीज जो होता है, that is an interview. We host an interview. It is not an interview style कि मैं job apply करने के लिए बोल रही हूँ, but it's more of that we are
the person.
We need to dig deeper in order to figure out what is your pitch, what is your brand, what is your story. And that helps you brand your CV हो, फिर वो LinkedIn हो, वो job application हो, whatever it may be, at least you know your pitch.
Okay.
That is it.
So okay, आपने काफी CVs देखी होंगी, तो like what is the number right now? How many CVs have you made?
Oh my God, how many CVs have I made?
Approx.
I think 360.
360.
Yeah.
Okay. So
That's the last number I remember.
आप उनसे पहले तो देखते होंगे कि कैसे normal basic templates वो बना के लाएं.
Correct.
What are the common mistakes you notice in them?
Great question. So some of the things are there, like the chronology. Okay, the chronology of content that is there. It is either like the way they have done it, right? So chronology of the work that they have done, right?
Like
Experience ka chronology. A lot of the mistakes like using the wrong email ID, right? So people who are freshers, at least, they have misnamed email IDs. They have something like Dhvani1234 or War Machine Rocks and stuff like that. Don't use kiddish email IDs.
Okay.
Something very specific also is stuff like using and more or etc. in the content. Like अपने content जब बना रहे होते हैं, and we write that, say I have done podcasts with this person, and more.
Yeah.
Or etc.
Yeah.
So these are things called lazy words. These are termed as lazy words, right? So these words are not good. If you're giving yourself as a pitch, right, you can't have etc. words in it. You need to explain everything you have done from start to end. जितना भी लिखना है लिखो, but etc. words मत डालो. Don't put lazy words, etc. words, and more. Stuff like that. Another is obviously the main thing that I had said, like the design aspect of it, right? Design is something that people go for, like the most obvious one, or templates. So if we see, this is a side thing, MBA colleges or like big colleges, they have a fixed format. Okay, there is a purpose to that fixed format, that the person who is hiring knows that these people are from that college, right? As a fresher, anywhere else, not from a big college, not from a famous college or anything like that, you're applying for a job, those templates you don't have to restrict yourself to, because those templates, there are again 30 other people who are doing it.
Obviously.
So bother yourself to think differently. So I'm sure you must have heard of these stories. Like, have you heard of the Swiggy guy? He's from Calcutta. No, there's a person called Swiggy guy, matlab, that's his association or whatever.
Okay.
But he did a very different thing to apply for the job, where he had made his portfolio and called it out on LinkedIn. He, Swiggy, please hire me. Please
Yeah,
hire
yeah,
me.
I've seen that one. Yeah,
So
I
it's a
don't remember
CV
the
in
name
the
right
form
now.
of a presentation. I think his name was Rahul or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, even I
Yeah,
can't remember right now. But yeah, I did see that post. It went quite viral.
Correct.
Yeah.
So there's another one, मतलब बहुत सारा ऐसा है जो Netflix का template में Netflix पे apply कर रहा है, right? Why not bother to do something that relevant for a company? So one of the other biggest issues that people face is they don't research a company. They go for like the most general approach. कि मेरे को general CV बनाना है, मेरे को 50 जगह apply करना है. That won't be ideal because then the company also knows that you're doing that. It's relevant, visible from your CV that you are doing that,
Yeah.
right? The more you are focused on one company, the better it is for the company to feel that this person is really interested, right? You show your commitment.
Yeah.
So you show your commitment all throughout. ना एक ही चीज से कैसे होगा कि अपने इंटरव्यू में गए और बोले कि I really want to work in your company.
Yeah.
That is not enough. You need to show your commitment. So CV has a play of design as well, which is something that definitely gets ignored for sure. So
डोंट यू थिंक कि वो इग्नोर इसलिए होता है कि जैसे इफ आई एम अप्लाइंग फॉर अ बिग कंपनी, ठीक है, तो आई वुड एक्सपेक्ट कि इन लोगों को प्रोफेशनलिज्म चाहिए, इन लोगों को नहीं चाहिए मी बीइंग क्रिएटिव एंड समथिंग लाइक दैट. सपोज इफ आई एम अप्लाइंग फॉर अ फाइनेंस रोल,
role.
ठीक है, तो उसमें डू आई नीड टू बी क्रिएटिव?
Creativity is not essentially like, let me just take an example, right? कि ये अपना अगर है, ठीक है, if this is like a direct document that is there,
Yeah.
even for a finance role you go for like a direct document
Yeah.
like this. Have you seen that CV जिसमें एक line होता है
हाँ.
और यहाँ पे content होता है और यहाँ पे content होता है? I'm saying the difference between just curving this and this.
Okay.
अपना जो straight line है, see I'm a designer, ठीक है, so I will talk a little bit in design terms. But for example, it's a straight rectangle,
Yeah.
and I'm rounding that rectangle. Okay, that is a slight design difference that is happening, because of which the CV is also looking a lot different, right?
Yeah.
So तुम अगर, if I'm just going through like 30 CVs like this, I know that अच्छा this is यहाँ पे कुछ अलग किया है. So finance CVs, obviously you can't go as creative as you can go with other CVs, but you can definitely have a different design than your friend, right?
जो आई कैचिंग रहे बेटा.
जो eye catching रहे, जो person को easily readable रहे,
Yeah.
right? So freshers either tend to fill up their content a lot by putting in random stuff that they don't need to put, like class 10 का relevance कुछ नहीं होता, class 10 का relevance जो डाल रहे होते हैं, right? But additionally also you have like, I had a football competition in class 5. तो क्या करें football competition in class 5, even class 9, right? Football डाल रहे हो या ये डाल रहे हो, rather you should be filling it up with skills that you could know and talk about, right? So stuff like that, and that is how your design gets a little different. So design is not just making it very creative, like taking a thing of Canva and using a lot of pie charts and like a lot of graphs and scalability and stuff like that. Not stuff like that. Just something that is different from the person beside you.
Okay, so अगर like audience is mostly for currently the college students, and हम लोग का job experience starting में तो obviously कुछ है नहीं.
नहीं है.
So हम लोग CV में ऐसा क्या डालें so that we can land an internship at least? I mean the soft skills हो गया, या फिर what are the relevant skills that we need to upgrade जिससे हम लोग के CV पे वो affect करे?
So there's this thing I mentioned, right? The purpose.
Yeah.
This purpose, right? When you start writing your CV, the thing that you need to define is the purpose. For that, there's this metaphor I use that your CV is a teaser trailer.
Okay.
Your LinkedIn is a trailer, and your interview is the movie.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the idea is that you need to land that movie, right? उसका मतलब वो movie में जो होने वाला है उसमें तुम बहुत बात कर सकते हो, right? But वो teaser में वो बहुत बात करने के लिए कुछ रहना चाहिए. You have a study guide for that, okay? If you go on LinkedIn and you're applying for any job, you get one thing from the job itself. What is that?
Opportunity.
Job description. Something I
You should have answered it.
than that. Sorry. Okay, a job description,
Yeah.
right? वो company ना को दे दे रहा है कि उनको क्या चाहिए,
Yeah.
right? So one of the basic things that a fresher can do is actually study what the people over there are looking out for. So वहाँ पे ना आधे CV उसी में भर जाता है. If you take in what they are looking for as an intern, they're not expecting you to do a lot. They know कि तुम्हारे को job नहीं आता है. That's why you're an intern or a fresher, right? So the point is to upskill yourself only in those spaces which are limited from the job description. Say there are 10 points. ठीक है, 10 points, probably you have done 5 of them in some way. In your college, in your school, in some extracurricular activity, you can start framing it that way so that your CV is having those skills. So for example, soft skill tum bol rahe ho, right? One is writing that I'm a proactive person, I'm a communicator, I'm a this, I'm a that.
Okay.
Another is giving proof of that. And that is easy proof that you can give, right? कि तुम college में ये किए थे, तुम school में ये किए थे. If you're taking this podcast as an example, if you're taking a competition as an example, additionally, Bhawanipur has like 30,000 things that are possible to add in your CV.
Obviously.
But otherwise also, there are things that you're a part of which you can use in order to build your soft skills section. There are other sections also, experience ho, internships ho, projects hai, positions of responsibilities hai, hobbies hai, interests hai.
Hobbies matter करता है?
It is a conversation point. It is a talking point.
Like,
The point of being a teaser trailer is that you have enough things in your CV for the other person to talk to you about.
okay.
So if we go up a fresher, right? Fresher में तो फिर भी maybe space भरने के लिए भी कर लोगे. But per se, like once you are in like 2 years of experience, right? And you add pickleball, and the person who is interviewing is also like, oh, you also know pickleball. Oh, I didn't know there were a lot of people who knew pickleball. So it is a talking point. It is a very subjective thing. I know, like a lot of people are like, hobbies nahi dalna chahiye, hobbies dalna chahiye. Even the hirers have very strong opinions on this. Okay, some people get offended by the idea that hobbies is being added, and some people are like, they need it to talk to people.
Yeah, even मैंने एक कंपनी का देखा था पॉडकास्टिंग कि उसमें था कि they hire people and वो लोग हॉबीज के बारे में ज्यादा पूछते हैं because that is where people lie कि
Yeah.
हाँ कि मुझे तो कुछ भी डालना हॉबीज को डाल because I want to fill the white space.
But people don't tend to lie in hobbies per se.
Usually time नहीं मिलता ना वो सब हॉबीज का. Basically they are, you know, like if they are CA aspirants or something like that. तो
Honestly,
hobbies
like
तो ही गई.
typical thing people go for is reading, writing, listening,
Yeah, exactly.
music and stuff.
हाँ.
है. यार वो hobbies डालना तो मत ही डालो.
वही बात.
Big idea is that, right? If you're writing hobbies, make every section in your CV should be something that makes an impact or the person wants to talk to
Yeah.
about it, right? If you don't know how to play pickleball, learn about it. At least read. इतना homework तो कर ही सकते हो, right? If you're lying, at least do your homework of lying about it. Though I won't promote lying.
Yeah, that I was thinking of.
No.
Okay.
Please don't lie. But the idea is that you have done a lot of things which could be added as a hobby, which is not considered as a hobby because again हम लोग template format में चले जाते हैं कि मेरा दोस्त डाला है listening to music, reading book, writing books.
Yeah.
Just that. Honestly, every step of this CV creation ho, I am into branding, right? Like branding of a person.
Yeah.
I'm helping you package yourself better. When you are branding yourself or packaging yourself, right? Everything needs to stand out. The idea is अगर तुम experience बना रहे हो, तुम hobbies बना रहे हो, तुम कोई भी section उठा लो CV का. You have to be a little different than the other person. A friend came to me and he's like, सुनो ना, मेरा जो CV है, वो मेरे दोस्त के जैसा CV एकदम identical बना दो. मैं कौन सा रोल के लिए अप्लाई कर, हम सेम रोल के लिए अप्लाई कर, सेम रोल के लिए अप्लाई करो और सेम सीवी डाल रहे हो. दैट इज रिडिकुलस, राइट? सो एफर्ट डज नॉट गो इनटू सीवीज. ठीक है, लाइक पीपल डोंट पुट एज मच एफर्ट फॉर समथिंग दैट दे आर गोना लिव देयर लाइफ विद, right? They're gonna earn money out of this, but they won't put in the effort of like just making a good enough CV. So yeah.
I guess so. I have not done any job or internship yet, but what we have seen in movies or what we have heard that boss is treating employee बहुत बुरे तरीके से, salary काट ले रहा है for not coming on time sometimes. And you have done 9 internships.
Yeah.
You are running your own venture. How do you think कि boss employee का relationship कैसा चल रहा है फिलहाल? And has it been for you during those 9 internships?
Fair enough. So I do, like, I can say that my intern is right here.
Okay.
He can be a better testimonial for that.
Yeah.
But keeping that aside, honestly, I've done like 9 internships, 3 jobs. Almost all of them, I could honestly empathize with most of the bosses. ठीक है, the knowledge that is there, like mostly what people say that the boss is rough on you or like not a great experience or like अच्छा चीज नहीं बोलते हैं, for sure. ठीक है, वो बोलते हैं लोग. I have not experienced it. Okay. I can be privileged with that, but I do get that thing. Okay, there's a constant cycle or circle that is happening of problems not being solved, and then the intern or the employee morely is blamed for the thing that is not being solved, right? So, I mean, it's very subjective, right? मतलब अलग-अलग कंपनी में अलग-अलग सीन चलता है.
not talking about नारायण मूर्ति वाला.
हाँ, नहीं, नारायण मूर्ति तक भी नहीं जाते. मेरे कंपनी में अगर if you want to limit it to, I have learned everything from my dad.
Yeah.
Everything I have learned about business is through my dad, and he is known to be like a great mentor. He is literally like, I I have a list of people who call them their mentor, right? And like that happens every year that there are 3 new people who see him as a mentor. So I have grown up in that way where, you know, I get to hear that a lot and I get to see those things that he does specifically because of which he turns out to be a great boss and a great mentor, which is to do with a lot of time to the person who's growing under you,
Yeah.
right? So if I have an employee under me, I can't expect them to mold according to my company. I can expect them to know a little bit about what they are hired to do, but I can't expect them to do it according to what I need them to do. And that is where mostly the lack that happens is the lack of time that people have.
Yeah.
And the bigger the company gets, the more problematic the time gets. Because जितना बड़ा company होगा उतना कम time होगा,
Yeah.
right? And जितना कम time होते जाता है उतना ज़्यादा वो जो problems आते हैं वो आते हैं. Because of which, if you're great at picking up skills, if you're great at picking up कि, you know, you just listen to the ranks
Yeah.
and then you pick that up and then you do it.
Yeah.
On the other side, asking, like this is from the boss's side, that how bosses can be better is that they give a lot of time.
Yeah.
But from the employee or intern point of view, it is also about asking a lot of questions. So the thing is that most people are scared कि, you know, मैं पूछ लूँ क्या या कुछ करूँ क्या. But the most proactive thing that you can do is have questions. And the only way you can have questions is if you know what you're doing. If you just see the company, if you read about the company, you ask, अगर वो आपको कुछ assign कर रहे हैं, right, कि go transcribe this podcast.
Yeah.
You don't know how to do it. You ask, how is that possible, right? If they give you a hearing, then you know that हाँ उनको ज़्यादा नहीं पूछ सकते, but तुम फिर भी पूछो.
But then मैंने तो आपको job पे इसीलिए लिया है ना, so that you can do that work. So if you'll ask me the basic questions.
Basic questions तो मत ही पूछना. The idea being that it needs to be a conversation that is being there from both sides,
Yeah.
from an employee and from the boss. And mostly the biggest issue that happens is the lack of that happening, right? Time between them. That is why, you know, if you see that a lot of offsites that companies have, like offsite is essentially big companies go on a trip together or go on a house अकेले,
Get
just do
together types, yeah.
but get together, मस्तीबाजी, so that they can get to the team a bit more closely,
Yeah.
in order for them to have a better relationship or a friendship, right? So I went on a trip, for example, with 22 people, okay?
Okay.
And all of these became friends after working together for 7-8 years, जिसमें से जिनके साथ मैं गई थी वो उनके boss थे. And it was not a office trip that had happened. They had become friends eventually.
Yeah.
And that kind of growth would be great, right? That's
Obviously,
how you...
फिर company को कितना अच्छा growth मिलेगा.
Exactly, because the company, the people are then loyally invested to you.
Yeah.
Right? So that doesn't happen out of nowhere. And the other thing for interns, for example, the first thing to do is Google. तो आपके पास 50 question है, तुम Google करके समझ लो. 60th question you go to your boss about.
Yeah.
Then you can be a great intern. If you ask me everything, that is what you said.
Irritating हो जाएगा फिर वो चीज़.
Basic questions मत पूछो. So Google is something people do miss out on. ठीक है? People don't bother to.
They'll be like, yeah, धवानी मैम ने बोला था पूछ के आते हैं, चलो.
Add कर दिए पहले कि अगर intern हो तो पहला skill सीख लो Google कैसे करता है.
Okay. So you said that you have switched 9 internships and 3 jobs.
Yeah.
Okay. So we had a podcast with one of our guests and he had an opinion. Okay, he's 40 years old and he has 3-4 startups. So he had an opinion. Then when he looks at a CV and अगर वो notice कर रहा है कि ये person बहुत job switch कर रहा है, is not loyal, तो how will they trust you? कि अगर ये मेरे साथ 1 महीना भी रहेगा कि नहीं रहेगा, I don't know.
No.
Why should I take you? So how did it affect you and do you advise to do the same thing to others?
Interesting. That is a very interesting question.
Yeah.
So, there are 2 things. One is internship and job. Okay? Internship are for people who are freshers and who are needing to understand what do they want to do in their life.
Yeah.
Okay? You don't know right now that you could feel right now that they want to be in HR, but after 3 months you experience something and like, oh, maybe I want to do this, maybe I want to do that, right?
ठीक है, बहुत indecisive decision चल रहा है अभी नहीं. I'm happy with HR.
Right.
But okay, yeah, I got it.
The indecisiveness will always be there till the age of 24, I would say, right?
Yeah.
Like till a certain age, you will have that confusion because, for example, I started off as a photographer. I did photography for almost 2 years on the side as a freelancer while I was interning at these places. And I was convinced that I want to be a photographer, right? And that's when I learned the skill of graphic designing. And I'm like, oh, I want to be a designer. Oh, when I did that, then I joined a company where I learned a lot of business management, like project management of sorts. I'm like, oh, I could hire people to do what I would want them to do.
Yeah.
So I need to know how to do project management. So every day my mind could change to different places, right? Internships are those places that I feel we have an opportunity to learn out of things. And it is not expected you to be loyal. Interns का तो पता ही होता है कि they are here for a short time. This is a fixed question that is there. People, I know someone who did 3 years of college and didn't do any internship, right? Like, don't take an opportunity, right? Like people,
Yeah, okay.
people didn't take up that opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Internships are known to be shorter.
Yeah.
There is an opportunity in the market where they are asking you to do that. Now the other part is definitely if you stick around. I would love my interns, for example, to not leave me because I've put in a lot of training. I would expect them to stick around and all.
Yeah.
But I would understand that if this is not somewhere you're growing, if this is not somewhere where my interest is lying, then I would change.
Okay.
I worked in a accountancy company as well.
Yeah.
Right. Accounting is not something I want to do. I did for 3 months. I did for 4 months, I think. And I was really bored by the end of it. I'm like, I can't do this. I can't sit on a computer and just put in numbers and try to figure it out. But there are a lot of people who get really invested into that. There are a lot of people who are doing that, right? So वो time होना चाहिए. Internship should be the time where you are figuring out what all you want to do. That's when you're trying out multiple companies. I would really promote that. Keep take that time to figure out कि अच्छा ये try करना है, ये try करना है, ये try करना है. Additionally, that is what I do in my company at least. That I don't give them one task. It's not a repetitive task that they're getting. They're hired with one knowledge. कि say for example मैंने content writer लिया है. मैं उनको बोलती हूँ तुम फिर भी अपना नाम intern रखो. क्या होगा ना कंटेंट राइटिंग मिलेगा उसके साथ अगर दूसरा जॉब अपने पास आ रहा है यू कैन ट्राई दैट एज वेल यू कैन ट्राई दिस एज वेल ये तीनों में तुम्हारे को लगता है दैट यू फिट इन रियली वेल यू पिक दैट अप दैट इज व्हाट an internship should be. It is allowing you to grow in a way you're having like real life experiences and then you are being able to accept that oh this is something I want to do, this is something I don't want to do. On the other hand, jobs, there is requirement for loyalty, there's requirements whatever he said. I completely agree on jobs. Agar once you're hired into that company, I would love to see some loyalty to that company's association to that company, but it's not all on the employee. If the company is not pushing that on them, they are not doing everything for the employee to feel like it's their home.
Yeah.
And they're attached to that company, then it won't work.
Yeah.
They won't be attached just because of money. Eventually that goes away.
Okay. So I had this theory which I got it from someone. As in, if you have 3 different personalities, one which you are by spirit, one which you are by your brain, and one which is by your heart.
Okay.
Like for me, I would say that I'm a teacher by spirit, and I might be an entrepreneur by brain, and by heart I would be a cricketer. Like currently in my options, I would think in this way.
Okay.
What would be your personalities in that?
Spirit, heart, and brain.
Yeah.
Okay. So by brain, definitely
entrepreneur. Yeah.
For sure. By spirit, I think I would be. You said teacher.
Yeah, mine would be teacher, because I think I can teach a certain thing if I've learned something. Suppose अगर मैं podcasting का setup किसी को समझाऊँ, so I can teach you better than the people who are teaching on YouTube and shit like that.
Oh, so spirit
It
wise.
comes out naturally.
Yeah, spirit wise, I'm therapeutic. Like therapy.
Therapist.
Yeah, therapist.
Okay.
I've known that for my friends as well.
Take notes. I want. Okay.
I don't want to overestimate yourself when I'm saying it, but it is true that like a lot of friends feel better when they talk to me.
Yeah.
And CV Shop maybe आधा से ज़्यादा time it's more of like a therapeutic thing that is happening.
Yeah, even I think like आपसे जब call पे बात हुआ था हमारा इसके related, and even while shooting this, I know that you have a jolly and quite optimistic attitude.
Thank you.
So yeah, उसके related I'll ask a question in the upcoming segment, but yeah.
Yeah, so spirit would be that.
Yeah.
And heart would be. How do you define heart? Like
something which you can do forever and it's like.
Okay, yeah, I have it. I like to capture things.
Photography.
मतलब photography specifically नहीं बोलूँगी because it's reels हो, videos हो, even मतलब visually also if I don't even have a phone, I would like remember something through what I've captured, right? So.
The office moment. You know. Yeah.
That is me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So okay, coming to our theme, which is bridging the gaps between Gen Z and Millennials. Okay. So, do you think there's some ick about this generation regarding your opinion?
Like, what's wrong with generation? Yeah. Interesting question. My sister will kill me. Okay. Okay. Honestly, I have a lot of friends, okay, who are of the younger generation as well. I'm not one of those people who sees age and become friends. So I have a lot of friends who I see as younger sisters and all also. But one issue that I'm seeing is, yeah, it could be limited to my circles or something like that, but a little bit of uh, harshness on working, okay? Like working nahi, okay,
Hustle
like
culture type.
hustle culture, avoid karna maybe. So I have this person who was talking to me, okay, and she's like, uh, I have to apply for this college, okay, and I have to study for that. But I also have to do internship at the same time. So I'm not sure I'll be able to manage the same. I mean, this is the age to manage it. When are you going to manage it? After 4 years?
So you should not avoid it, no?
You should not avoid it. I'm not gonna.
Should avoid.
नहीं, sorry.
Yeah.
वापस बोल.
आपने कहा कि hustle culture avoid करना होता है.
हाँ. Wait, I'll rephrase it.
Yeah.
Okay, restarting that.
Yeah.
Okay, so my problem is associated to a very small thing, which is essentially avoiding doing a lot of things.
Okay.
ठीक है?
Okay. Yeah.
Let's just take it that way, right? Avoiding doing a lot of things in the sense that I was talking to someone who wanted to apply for a college and they would have to obviously study for it. It was not MBA, but like MBA के लिए भी apply करना होता है तो CAT पढ़ना होता है, all of that, study.
Yeah.
And on the other side, they wanted to gain some experience as well. And they were like, we don't want to do this. Like, I don't know if I'll be able to manage both of them together. I mean, this is the age that you can push yourself, you can push your limits. After 30, 40, you have other things to bother about. You have to take care of house, you have to take care of people, all of that things, okay? You want to travel also, you want to do your business also, blah, blah, blah. Time नहीं होता है बाद में. But अभी is the time where you don't have to manage those smaller things. घर manage करने का ज़रूरत नहीं होता है. All you have to focus on is how to build your life forward. And for that, you should do multiple things. So I'm not saying that work 12 hours a day or like 18 hours a day or something like that. But do try to push yourself out of your limits a little bit.
Okay.
I have come across way too many kids right now who don't want to push their limits. They want to be limited to just like, हाँ मैं एक internship कर लूँगी या internship कर लूँगा or I'm gonna do like apply for a college.
For I'm not saying that on camera. Okay.
So I'm applying for a college, right? So CAT will take up all of my time. But if you can push yourself to learn a little bit along the side, you will grow right now only.
Yeah.
Later on, you can't. So it's not an ick, it is only sort of an advice that, you know, push yourself a little bit right now because later on is not the time to do it. You don't have the time to do it.
Okay. So after that, like I said, you have a jolly attitude and a quite optimistic thing. So how do you maintain that? Like, is there something कि अभी life में दुख दर्द नहीं है तो yeah, I'm having this my geet phase, or it's like yeah, I'm made up like this because I have certain thoughts to how to process them. Like, what would your advice to those who are having mental health issues or who are not able to deal? Like, if you said that कि सब लोग manage नहीं कर पा रहे, कैसे करें? Because कहीं ना कहीं mental health is a rising issue in our generation.
For sure.
तो हाँ, how do
पहले मैं funny answer देने वाली थी, फिर तुम mental health घुसा दी हो.
You can give both answers.
I was gonna say that I'm optimistic so much because I have a cup of coffee every day, but no, it's not just that. It is honestly what you said, right? I don't have. I'm very like I am decently privileged. I have enough to not worry about other things. Okay, so it is difficult. Well, I won't be in one of those spaces that I would say that I have mental health. I could give suggestions on mental health, right?
Okay.
Won't do
But
any
you
of
might
that.
have your struggles. Like if you like you said, you started your social media company and वो बंद करना पड़ा. So it's not like that you would want it to be closed.
So the thing with business is that I get your point, okay? That
Struggles and सब तो हो गई obviously.
struggles and all होता है, but I think the assurance or an idea that I will do something with my life is a constant that is there in my mind. Okay, in the background, it's always there कि मेरे को कुछ हो जाएगा मेरा से. So the constant self mantra that needs to be there, it needs to be there from you. It cannot be that your friends are validating you or your parents are validating you or the college is validating you. बाहर से validation नहीं आ सकता है. Until unless that validation is coming from your inside that you can do something. I'm not even saying that, oh, I'm great or like I'm a great person and I'm awesome and all of that. Though I do say that a lot of times. But the point being that optimism comes from the idea that I know that if CV Shop doesn't work out, if what I'm doing currently doesn't work out, I will figure something else out that would work out. And I would say this is the kind of thinking that comes One, I think from my family, like I've seen this a lot in my family, my dad also. And also, this is a very business type of thinking. You're not attached to something. Just say you enter the rat race, no? The thing that happens is you're very attached to like a certain set of living, certain set of cost. You can't risk to lose your job. You can't risk to do something and all. And you can't step out of that zone of taking continuous comfort.
Yeah.
You stop taking risks eventually because you have a fixed job, fix something. Business में क्या है, हर time तुम risk ही ले रहे हो. So you get so used to failure. That is something, one of the first things that I learned ever when I started working. Getting used to failure a lot. That when I failed at doing that company, I was like, okay, it didn't work out. It was not like a failure for me. It was something like, okay, it didn't work out, but something else will work out. So that constant thing is there. That if this doesn't work out, that will work out. If this doesn't work out, that will work out.
Okay. So like, I still have a doubt. Like, how do you maintain that positive attitude? I mean, at some point, even I am like, yeah, ठीक है, एक रास्ता बंद हुआ, दूसरा खुलेगा. I know that. But कभी-कभी that failure is so hard, or even if that setback is so hard that you take time to get up.
I do take time to. It's not like I'm not like this all the time, okay? Where I'm like very
चलो
चलो क्या करना है बताओ, let's do it.
Okay.
नहीं, I have my down moments as well, and talking helps. I talk a lot.
Okay, yeah.
You can see that.
Yeah.
But my friends are there for that, honestly. Like this was someone had asked me this, ki, do you have that space in your life where you can talk about yourself? I'm like, one of the things that I definitely have in life is a space, which is essentially what you call a safe space,
Yeah.
right? So when you are going through something and you don't have that safe space, then it becomes difficult, right? That's why a lot of people should go for therapy, because that gives you that space, that you have a safe space to talk about. I have that in my friends. Like I have made sure that I have that as well, and I give that to them as well. That's why I said that I am therapeutic for them as well.
Yeah.
Because I need that space of talking and I get it back. So यार जब कुछ बुरा भी होता है ना, तो I have the space to talk about it and it's better after
It
that.
gets better while talking. Okay. So, taking the Gen Z into consideration, we believe that YOLO concept, you live only once.
Okay.
So, based on that, I think that we usually spend a lot and we don't think about savings. But as we grow older, I think there might be a reality check incoming कि हाँ, तुमने बचाया नहीं, अब
बचाया
तुम्हारे गए तुम लगने वाले. So, how do you deal with that? Like, what are the steps, or how should you plan your, if अगर मैं age से देखूँ, if I am 20 right now, I am enjoying my life, I am trying options and all. What is the point then when I should stop and I should be serious about it, that yeah, now it's the time I need to choose one option, start earning on that, and save and spend equally and maintain my work-life balance.
So as a fresher or at least a college graduate,
Yeah.
live your life. Just live your life. I will never say save. My dad told me one thing. तुम कॉलेज जाओ, तुमको कॉलेज का क्लास नहीं अटेंड करना है, मत करो. गाड़ी लो, अड्डा मारने जाओ, बट सुबह 6 बजे उठो और जाओ. Do something. The idea in college, that is my ick with this generation as well, that people are averse to doing something because they have 30 reasons to not do it. क्यों नहीं करना है? क्या हो जाएगा? What will happen if you don't land up doing something, right? The issue is that people don't do anything only. People are like, if I do this, then मेरे को लग जाएगा. If I land up going for rafting, then I will fall down and hurt myself. I can't afford to do that because I have to go to college the next day. Oh my God, just do it.
Okay.
So the idea is that, sorry, question.
When should you start saving and be serious about?
Saving part happens after you have, if you do all of this in college, no, you know that you have experienced. Okay? A lot of issues that happens, for example, nothing wrong with Xavier's, okay, I love that college or whatever, okay. What I love about Bhawanipur is that you have space to do everything else. The reason I could do so many internships, that is what exposed me to the world. It's not like I was thinking about savings at that time. It was only about exposure. I did so many things. I worked in a retail company. I worked in a clothing studio.
Yeah.
I did a lot of photo shoots. Just photo shoots के मतलब brand के साथ, मैं clothing brand के साथ काम कर रही थी. हम लोग अलग-अलग जाके photo shoots कर रहे थे. I just didn't say no to anything. That is what it should be. कि तुम first 3 years you don't say no to anything. Whatever it takes, you make it happen. You do it. After you are entering the rat race, ठीक है, that is when you are starting to take your life seriously. So if you say do your masters and all, that becomes another excuse for you to continue your college years for like college days for 2 more years. But that hits a point where you feel internally that हाँ मैंने बहुत मस्ती कर ली, बहुत सारा चीज कर लिया, बहुत सारा चीज experience कर लिया. If you don't land up experiencing, that's when you land up being an adult who wants to not save.
Yeah.
Right? If you have not experienced life.
Yeah.
If you are experiencing life in college itself, you're doing 30 things that are possible. You're going on trips. You're like the lip sir just told me that there is this thing that is happening about rafting from Calcutta to another. Not rafting. What is it? Rafting only, right?
I don't.
Rowing.
Yeah.
That's insane. That is absolutely amazing. If you experience something like that, if you go for a lot of treks, or there were 4 excursions that happened this year, he said, right? So that is experiencing. So मैं अगर 6 साल बाद मतलब after college is over, even after masters is over, if I sit down to save money, I will do it because I have experienced life. I know that I can save. And on the savings part, what my accounts friend, like a friend of mine, he's a wealth manager, right? So he told me one rule, like और कुछ नहीं करना है तो ये कर ले बस 50-30-20.
So since our generation is quite into clapping back, which means कि बहुत जल्दी हम लोग criticisms पे respond कर देते हैं, and you are starting your content creation वाला journey. Means you do have 3 accounts and you're maintaining your CV Shop वाला account. How do you deal with haters in social media, or if I had to say in real life also?
Good question. So I learned. So I had this fight at home one day, okay, and my dadu, after 2 days, not that day, he just made me sit down and he told me this one thing: gain the capacity to listen without reacting. And I know that is literally the meaning opposite of like clapping back.
Yeah.
like वही होता है कि लोग criticize कर रहे हैं तो चुप हो जाओ, but नहीं, हम लोग चुप नहीं होंगे, हम लोग और बोलेंगे, right? So one is that if an adult person is saying something to you, there is a difference, and if your peer is saying something to you, that is different. So if a person who is coming from an adult side is telling you something that you're doing it wrong or right, give them the respect that they're older than you and you listen to it. Versus online, if you're talking about like अपने trolls हो गए, haters हो गए, blah blah blah, honestly just ignore. Like what are they doing to your life? How will you be affected by them at all? What are they gonna say? Like, are they saying something that is making you feel bad? Why? They are not relevant to you. They are not your friend. They are not your peer. You're never gonna meet them in your life. If they are being creepy, block them. That's a separate thing altogether. Yeah. But the fact being that if someone's being bad to you and they are not relevant to you in your ecosystem or your life, ignore.
Okay, चलिए ठीक है, if it's a stranger, I'm ignoring it.
Yeah.
But if it's someone I know, ठीक है, and it's like, suppose if I'm starting my content creation का journey, usually what happens, we start with a cringe content. If you're not proper expert in it, तो कहीं ना कहीं हम लोग गलती करते हैं, चाहे वो bad camera quality हो गया, space
ये होता है,
या फिर हमारा acting cringe है, so like that. So we get judged, obviously. How do you deal with that with the persons you know already?
Okay, I'll give you a very specific example because this has happened only once with me. So this has happened in a way. I had made a CV, okay, and it was a mom CV.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, it was there for Mother's Day. It was there this year. It was also there 4 years back. So I do it every Mother's Day that comes up, and like I send it to people and I talk about it and all. उसमें एक section था that people did not agree with, and they commented on the thing that you cannot write that in a mom CV, which was, I'll tell you what it was. It was that achievements में लिखा हुआ था that they don't take a break.
Yeah.
And they said that don't rejoice the fact that that they don't take a break. It should be something that shouldn't be pushed upon.
Yeah.
Now she was very rude on the comments, like very harsh about it and all. And one thing I could justify that it is a thing that they do, and I'm grateful for the fact that they do it. But I do get what they are trying to say. I completely agree with what they are trying to say.
Yeah.
I could edit that, and I did. So there is not much of a retaliation that could happen if you just hear it out, right? One thing I could have done is immediately like, नहीं तुम कैसे बोल सकते हो, मैंने तो सोच के किया है, मैंने कुछ तो किया है, like तुमने तो कुछ भी नहीं बनाया, मैंने कुछ तो बनाया है, right?
Yeah.
One, it could be that I fight back,
Yeah.
right? One of my friends defended me as well, and I'm like, it's okay, you don't have to defend it. She's saying an opinion. It's a public platform. It is a public forum.
Yeah.
People will have opinions, and I'm open to them.
Yeah.
The fact is, either I can listen, do something about it, or I can listen and ignore it as well. She can't do anything about either of those, right? But I can just take a call according to my consciousness about it. And I changed that and it worked out, right? Otherwise, if I can't edit it and if it is something that I do believe, I don't have to justify myself. I'm good with what I'm doing. I'm fine. There are 30 people who agree with it, 2 people who disagree with it. Okay. right? Like,
be confident with your own
be
opinion.
confident, own up what you're doing. Like, I can't say that, oh, this is not what I did. Oh, my intern made this, okay? So I can't be blamed for this shit, okay? Like, sorry, I can't be blamed for this, right? I can't do that. Own up to what you have done, accept what you have done, and if you are agreeing to it, you stick to it. If you agree to what they are saying, you talk to them about it. But it is not something that, if we take it in a bigger aspect, like, उन celebrities के साथ जो होता है, उन लोग क्या करते हैं यार, उन लोग क्या ही कर सकते हैं. इधर देखे अभी हुआ, oh my god, जो हुआ था, the KL राहुल वाला चीज, right?
That
Sanjeev
Kanka, yeah.
I mean, either he could come out and be like, I'm so sorry, or he could just let it blow over, right? And he chose whatever he did. That is the job of a PR person. That's a separate thing कि तुम PR join करो तो तुम बताओ how to deal with this kind of a thing. But people will really like bully him in public about it, that how can you do this to someone. I would also disagree with, but why would you do it and stuff like that. But what can he do about like 30 other people telling you, तुम्हारा team है, तुम क्यों बोल रहे हो ये, तुम्हारा कोई relevance नहीं है यहाँ पे. So he won't care about what other people are saying. He can solve it with him. He can talk to him that, hey, did you feel bad about this? I'm not, that is funny if I'm like imitating him, but you get my point.
Yeah.
You deal with it accordingly, but it shouldn't be something that is a blown up thing. And criticizing तो अभी इस current generation का favorite trend हो के रखा है, ठीक है, तो कर लो criticize. That's okay.
Okay. So lastly, how would you summarize, if you want to give an advice to the audience, and the audience is young adults, okay, who are figuring out life, who are trying to basically manage that hustle culture we were talking about, what advice would you give to them?
Two things. One, please say yes to every opportunity you get. Every opportunity you get, just say yes, because right now is the time to say yes.
Yeah.
If you've done enough things, you are in the space of saying no. Right? बाद में बोलो ना, ठीक है? तुम 4 चीज कर चुके हो, उसके बाद तुम ना बोल रहे हो, समझ आता है. बिना कुछ किए, you can't say no. Say yes to every opportunity. See what is out there. It could be that you're pursuing something and the other person is giving you an opportunity for something else. And it could be interesting, right? Say yes. Just try it out. Try it for 2 days and then be like, ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं, मेरे को नहीं करना. But there's no fixed rule that you can't say no after some time.
Yeah.
So one is, please do it. Just do. Try 30 things so that you can decide what you want to do. If you are in a college that is taking up time, what you said about hustle culture, right? Like, I'm not saying that अगर college हो रहा है और तुम उसके साथ काम नहीं कर पा रहे हो, तो फिर भी अपने आप को force करके काम करो. उस college के अंदर opportunities ढूंढो. उस जो भी तुम कर रहे हो उसके अंदर भी 50 और opportunities possible है. But looking for those opportunities is a task that people don't know how to do. Task or an art of looking for those opportunities, it's difficult for people to do. Keep your ears open, keep your eyes open, and just say yes to opportunities. That is my suggestion.
Okay. So coming to red flags and green flags, in which I'll give you a situation, और आपको बताना है कि is it a red flag or a green flag?
Okay.
Okay. Lying a soft skill in your resume to land a job or internships.
A soft skill that you can do, or just
Lying about it. I don't know that soft skill.
red flag.
Okay. Sending out resumes even when you know you're not appropriate for the position.
Can do. मतलब green flag नहीं बोल सकते, pink बोल सकते हैं क्या?
Okay, but yeah, you have to choose one option.
Green flag. चलेगा.
Even if you're not appropriate for the position.
यार बहुत mixed opinions है इसमें. If you're trying out an opportunity, नहीं तो बहुत opinions है मेरा इसमें, ठीक है? तो इसलिए मैं बोलूँगी pink flag.
Okay, fine. Switching too many jobs in early stages of your career.
Green flag. I explained it.
Yeah, okay. Being a master of only one skill and not letting you discover other skills because you think मैंने एक skill कर लिया, so it's enough.
Oh, red flag.
Okay. Loving any other sitcom other than Friends. Because you are a Friends fan, we know that, so yeah.
Red flag.
Please. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is the best.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so that's our end of the time capsule. Thank you for coming, ma'am.
Thank
It's
you.
a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much.
So guys, ये था हमारा आज का conversation with ध्वनि. मिलते हैं next week आपके साथ with new insights and another guest. If you have any suggestions, please put down in the comments below and subscribe to our channel and share it with your friends. Thank you.